Hey, Sophia. Your health seems to have improved a lot recently. So why not just end your marriage and get a divorce? You used to be so incredibly frail and constantly in and out of the hospital because of your poor health. You probably couldn't have lived independently without my brother's constant help and support. But now it's unnecessary. It's about time you seriously consider the idea of living on your own, don't you think?
You want me to divorce your brother? Do you really mean that, Kaylee? I always knew that you never really liked me much, but I didn't realize that you wanted me to take such a drastic step, like getting a divorce with Noah. I'm glad to say that it's true I'm not nearly as sick as I used to be. I feel much less pain now. But Kaylee, you don't understand that that's only because I learned how to take better care of myself. I'm finally receiving effective treatment. I still have to be careful with my health, taking it easy to avoid any complications, you know.
So are you really planning to continue leeching off my brother forever?
What? Are you serious right now? You're saying I leech off my husband? You're jumping to conclusions here.
Well, that's exactly what you're doing, isn't it? You're taking advantage of him. My brother used to steal so many girls' hearts. You know him. He was always out and about with them. But ever since he married you, he stopped going out and enjoying himself like he used to because of your constant illness. It's like he's completely lost the spark that made him so lively and fun, you know? I honestly feel really sorry for him, having to give up so much of his happiness because of your condition. Besides, not only does he have to work tirelessly to support the entire family, but he also has to care for you. He's always so incredibly busy, and it's clear that the stress is taking a toll on him. He looks exhausted. It's almost like you've put a curse on him. You're like the Grim Reaper, draining all of his life away.
Why are you saying such hurtful things to me out of nowhere? I'm working too, you know. Just because I'm at home doesn't mean I'm not doing anything every day. I'm making money in my own way.
Oh, really? How would I know if you're actually working in there? You're constantly in your room, so you could just be laying around and wasting time. You're not doing anything worthwhile anyway, right? I mean, why would you when you can use Noah for his income? Jobs where you can work from home barely bring in any real money, you know. I looked into it myself, and none of those seem to pay well at all. I guarantee you they pay way less than my current job.
If you're butting into my life and saying that with so much confidence, maybe you should consider making some real changes to yours. I wanted to ask you, when exactly are you planning to move out and live on your own, Kaylee? It's been years since you've been out of school.
This is so irrelevant. Whether I choose to move out or not is none of your business. Why are you talking about this all of a sudden?
Well, I thought you'd move out once you got married, but it seems like you're still here, single as always. Kaylee, you don't even seem to be looking for a boyfriend. You just stay at home most of the time, only going out occasionally for that small part-time job of yours. Is that the kind of lifestyle really okay for you? Just existing without any meaningful plans and ambitions? I mean, you're getting nowhere.
What? I can't believe you're saying this to me. Besides, you're the absolute last person I want to hear that from. I should be the one telling that to you. You're the one who can't live on their own, constantly leeching off my brother and relying on him for everything. You're nothing but a burden who's barely being kept alive by him.
Even if you say that, it doesn't change the fact that your situation isn't much better than mine. In fact, I think it's worse. It's been a really long time since you started living in this house, right, Kaylee? Aren't you tired of this house? I mean, you're old enough to get married and move out by now, yet you're clinging on to this place.
I started living here for the sake of our parents. They needed someone to rely on, and I couldn't just leave them alone. Besides, my brother was always out chasing after women and wouldn't support them. Our poor parents having to live with my unreliable brother and his burden of a wife. It's just too sad to bear seeing them struggle because of you two. They deserve better than this, and I'm here to help them. And besides, I'm not stupid like you. I wouldn't make the same mistakes you did, marrying a scumbag like my brother who's been with countless women in the past. If I ever decide to marry, it'll be to an amazing guy, someone who is truly worth committing my life to. Although, I must admit, it's been really hard to find someone like that.
Yeah, I would guess that's the case. Hold on. You aren't making any sense. You talk about how I'm a bad fit for your brother, about how he can do so much better than me. But deep down, you don't want to marry someone like him personally. So do you admire his past behavior or despise it? It's a bit contradictory, isn't it? I don't really get it. Your logic doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, I don't care at all if you don't understand me. Your opinions don't bother me in the slightest.
Honestly, I need to be real with you. I shouldn't be saying this because I'm the sick one here, but the way you've been living your life is seriously unhealthy. Just look at yourself. You look completely different. Since you came back here to start living in this house, how much weight have you gained? You barely do any housework, and you have a job but rarely go to work. You just spend most of your time eating and lounging around. You're always lying on the couch, watching TV for hours on end without doing anything productive. I'd guess you've gained about 30 pounds, right? The changes in your appearance are pretty noticeable. I really think you should consider exercising a bit more and eating a bit healthier.
Sophia, you're so awful. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me as if you're so much better than me? I'm living my life to please myself, not people like you. I don't care if I don't meet your standards or anyone else's, so mind your own business and leave me alone. Besides, you're certainly not in any position to say anything to me about how I live my life.
No, you've gone too far. Living so lazily without covering rent or your share of the living expenses is really irresponsible.
Don't mess with me. You're just trying to trick me into paying you, but that won't work. I know your secret.
My secret? What are you even talking about?
I heard that you're only paying $300 for rent every month. It's true, right?
What?
How can you act so high and mighty when you're only contributing $300 a month for rent? You better not get cocky with me, because you're the one who's been leeching off my family for all this time. I can easily cover them out by myself, so you need to get out. There's no place for you here anymore, and it's time for you to leave.
What? Are you saying I can finally get out of here? Kaylee, do you really mean that? You're not just saying this to mess with me, right?
Of course not. There's no doubt about it. I don't want you here anymore. You better get out by the end of the day. Pack your things and leave already.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Sophia, I got a call from Mom and Dad earlier today, and they had some sudden news to share with me. They didn't expect you to leave, too. Your departure took them by surprise because I did the same thing a while ago. They said you should come back soon and get in touch with them. It's funny how they're reaching out to you the moment you leave. I'm starting to feel like it was really stupid to help them all this time, given how things turned out.
Yeah, I figured they would react that way. It's typical of them to be concerned only after they're bothered by something. You're not planning to send them any more money, right?
Nope, I won't send them anything anymore. They always make everything about my sister whenever she's around. It's like we don't even exist in those moments. They're normal when she's not around, though. It's only when she's close by that they start acting differently. You saw it too, right, Sophia? The moment she came back, their entire focus shifted to her and we were sidelined. It's fine that she's living comfortably, but it's unfair that they dump all the burden on us to make that happen.
It's not just me, but especially for you, Noah. As the older brother, you have to bear the burden most of the time without any thanks. And our in-laws always want to look good in front of Kaylee. That's why they just take credit for everything, while we're left with the real work. I knew it was always like that with you, but seeing it firsthand, it showed how unfair the situation really is. It was really unpleasant for me, and I know it was for you too.
That's why I used to go out with any woman I could find, desperately trying to fill that hole in my heart. My parents never cared for me as much as they did for her. And it was a painful realization. But even that never really filled the emptiness. No matter how many relationships I had, it never truly satisfied me. Then I met you, and things finally started to change. You were different from everyone else I'd known before.
Well, I guess that makes me your savior then.
Yeah, but you should know that I'm not joking when I say that's really how I feel. You brought something into my life that was missing. It's like I finally got what I was looking for. Something genuine and real that I couldn't find elsewhere. Sophia, you're so warm and accepting. You make me feel like I'm okay just the way I am without needing to change. You even accept my flaws and things I've always been ashamed of. I think it has something to do with how you've been weak with your illness and had tough times too. You were able to be kind to me when I was worn out, and that makes me feel truly understood.
Yeah, I guess so. It wasn't easy, but maybe going through my own struggles helped me connect with you better. I also struggled with my family. My parents always wanted a boy, so they were excited when my little brother was born. They put all their time and energy into raising my brother and barely looked in my direction. I guess it didn't help them that my medical treatment was so expensive. It's like I was more of a burden than a joy to them. It was my own fault for being born weak with this sickness, but their coldness was weighing on me. It's no wonder why they spoiled him for years, and for that I was often left feeling neglected. On the other hand, you fulfilled your role as the older brother in the family, despite the unfairness you faced. And I saw how you were trying to fill that void in your life. I saw how much you were struggling by being treated so terribly by your family. I wanted to care for you, not like how a sister cares for her little brother. Instead, I had a deep need to not feel alone. When I'm with you, it helps me to not feel so lonely. We lean on each other during difficult times, and I'm grateful.
I guess we both needed each other. It's funny how we ended up being each other's support so effortlessly.
Speaking of which, do you not regret your decision? I mean, was it really okay to make such a big decision? To leave your home and your family behind like that without hesitation?
My family now is you, Sophia. You're the most important person to me, and that's all that matters in my life. I've done more than enough for my parents and Kaylee over the years, given them everything I could, but now I've seen how careless they are towards you. I don't see any reason to do anything more for people who don't really care about you, Sophia.
I understand.
And honestly, when I saw the messages from Kaylee that you showed me, I couldn't believe what I was reading. It's obvious that she's the one taking advantage of their money, but she never admitted it. And then they had the audacity to try and make me pay for her study abroad fees, like it was my responsibility. I was honestly just disgusted by the whole situation.
Yeah, I get that. I've had similar feelings seeing how things have played out over the years with her. I've always wondered how things could be so one-sided. Even though she made us do most of the chores and responsibilities, she'd always complain and tease me about how sick I was. It made me really mad, seeing her manipulate everyone like that while we had to pick up the slack. Finally, leaving that house is a huge relief for me. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Plus, your illness was at its peak a long time ago. You've been doing fine for years since then. You can't overdo it, of course, but you're living normally now. Honestly, looking at her flabby body, it's clear she's the one who's actually unhealthy, not you. It's ironic how things turned out, given all her previous complaints about you being the unfit one.
Yeah, I recently told her she should exercise too. She needs to take better care of herself.
That was what set her off, right? She got so angry because it's the truth. She really needs to start moving more. What's crazier is she actually thinks that you've been paying only $300 for rent. Merely a few $100 for that huge condominium. It's ridiculous. It made me realize she's gone through life without learning anything, just being coddled by mom and dad.
Yeah, it was really laughable. The way she's been living, expecting everything to be handed to her without effort. Anyway, it won't be long before she comes crawling back, I'm guessing. She should realize the truth anytime soon.
Where are you, sis? I've been looking everywhere for you. Come back. I need you here immediately. This is really important.
Did you just say sis? You mean me? I never thought you'd refer to me as your sis.
Who else would I be talking about? Of course I'm talking about you. You're my only sister-in-law.
You never called me sis before. Why are you calling me that right now, after all these years?
Shut up. At least I'm kind enough to call you that, even if I'm a bit late. Stop making a big deal about it. Just come back already. I seriously need you to return as soon as possible.
Oh, there's no way I'm coming back. I've made up my mind, and I'm not going to change it for anything. Why are you so panicked? You're acting like something terrible has happened.
You know exactly why. Don't pretend like you don't understand what's going on here. You've been paying rent, and you've never told me how much it actually cost. $3,000 a month. Can you believe it? You've been paying that this whole time? It's way more than I ever imagined. I thought it was only $300. Why did you trick me into thinking that?
Of course you didn't know. Why would you? You never paid rent in your life, or any other expenses for that matter. You weren't even planning on paying anything in the future. You're absolutely clueless when it comes to responsibility. But yes, as you said, we've been paying $3,000 for rent every month. Not $300 like you were thinking. Not at all.
What the heck? Why is it so expensive? I can't believe it costs that much.
How could you ever think it wouldn't be that much? Did you really believe it would be so cheap to live here? You sound crazy right now. Your ignorance tells me you've never had to deal with these responsibilities firsthand. You've been living off your parents' help this whole time, relying on them for everything without understanding the real cost.
Well, let me just explain. First of all, I obviously didn't think it would only be $300 a month. I just believed it because I assumed our parents were covering most of the expenses. Plus, I thought Noah would have been paying his share too, so it wasn't hard to believe. And that's why I thought you were only paying a small portion of $300 for rent every month.
I see. Well, you were seriously mistaken. And honestly, you probably didn't even think about much of it, did you? That's why this all happened. And now you're shocked by the new bills. So much that you want us to come back. But it's not our problem anymore.
You have to understand, there's no way I can pay that kind of money. Ugh, you really are an awful person. Don't you see how evil you are? You knew I couldn't afford this, and you still left me here without a second thought. You did this deliberately. You couldn't even let me know you were leaving me. You just ran away.
Exactly. I did that on purpose. Honestly, I've been holding on to a lot of resentment. There's been so much pent-up frustration and anger that I didn't show you. But I thought of how Noah handled things the same way, so I accepted the situation, even though it wasn't fair at all. Besides, your parents were normal before you came back, treating us with respect, so I didn't mind too much. I decided to just let it be. But ever since you returned, everything began to revolve around you. Even though our expenses went up with another mouth to feed, you weren't covering any cost. Besides, your parents did nothing when I brought it up to them that you should be responsible for your own expenses. And when I told you about it, you pretended not to hear me whenever I mentioned it. You had the nerve to avoid any discussion of you taking responsibility. Looking at how immature and undisciplined you are, I've honestly wanted to leave for a long time.
Whatever. Listen, there's no way I can pay this kind of rent. The amount is simply too much for me to handle alone. Please, I need you to come back and pay the rent again. I'll even help with some of the living expenses if that's what it takes. So just come back. Let's go back to how things were.
Are you serious? I can't believe this. When are you going to stop being so entitled with me? Besides, why are you expecting me to still take care of you? Especially when you've been disrespecting me by making me do everything for you. I've endured it all thinking it was for Noah, but now I see that it's not worth the sacrifice anymore. Before this, I never left the house even though I wanted to, because I felt bad about abandoning you. But when you told me to leave at last, I felt liberated for the first time. This was my chance to get away from you, and I took it. I won't have anything to do with you ever again. This is the end for us, and I'm done with all of it.
You've got to listen to me. Another reason I thought you were paying a few $100 for rent is because you're always in your room. Except when you were doing chores, of course. Obviously, I think that you weren't making enough money to cover such expensive rent. I know both my brother and you have jobs, but I never imagined that you could actually pay off $3,000 every month.
Yes, I'll admit that I'm a shut-in, but that doesn't mean I'm not capable of handling my financial obligations. Don't you know? I barely leave my room, but I'm also a workaholic. I've been working tirelessly behind the scenes, even if it wasn't obvious to you.
What? How would you work so hard when you were in your room all the time?
I can't do physical labor because my body isn't that strong from my illness. It's gotten better, but I'm still pretty fragile. So I found other ways to work, jobs that won't take a toll on my health. I've always been good at using my intellect to work, and I'm doing exactly that to make a living. Believe it or not, I'm actually a pretty popular blogger. My writing has gained quite a following, which brings in income. I make a decent amount, probably more than your average office worker. It's surprising, but blogging can be profitable.
Really? I had no idea you were doing so well for yourself. Wait, so you're making money from writing and publishing your diary? That seems too simple to be true. How does that even work?
No way. You've got it all wrong. That isn't what I do for a living at all. Do you seriously think writing a diary would make you decent money? Gosh, you're more naive than I thought. How little do you have to know about the real world to assume that? I can see you barely know anything about it. I wouldn't be able to profit off a diary at all. Only famous celebrities could make bank from that, and I'm far from being one.
Ugh, are you doing something shady? It's hard to believe you're earning so much without breaking the law.
That's a funny thought. You really are clueless, aren't you? My job is none of your business, so I'm not explaining it from scratch to you. But I will say that while you were lazily binge-watching shows for hours a day, all whilst lying around and munching on potato chips, I was working my brain to the fullest and earning money. Much more than you'd ever make. While you were wasting time to live a comfortable life, I was disciplining myself so my serious effort would pay off.
That's such a mean way to put it. That reminds me, about my study abroad plans. Weren't my parents supposed to cover the cost? I assumed everything was taken care of.
Oh, right. I almost forgot to tell you. You wanted to study abroad to gain some so-called skills, right? That was your big plan, to improve yourself and your future prospects? Well, your parents weren't well off enough to be able to afford the expenses, so they made us cover them. Noah and I agreed to pay this because we wanted you away from us, even if it was temporary. We thought it would be great if you disappeared somewhere, giving us some peace. But that's changed now with our departure. Since we're leaving, it's an unnecessary expense now. There's no point in paying for something that won't benefit us. So we canceled the plan to pay for your study abroad. You'll have to pay for it on your own if you really want to go. Say goodbye to your study trip in France. More like a free vacation.
That's so cruel! How could you be so heartless? I can't believe you were only going to pay for it to get rid of me.
Well, Kaylee, you were planning to come back after 6 months, expecting to be a completely different person with new skills, correct? If I remember correctly, you wanted to learn French in only half a year. Then, you thought you would finally become a competent businesswoman. You thought this would be all it takes to win you success and respect in society, remember? You might have thought this was ambitious, but we saw how ridiculous it was from the start. Why do you think we would support you on such an unrealistic goal? And yet, we thought that this experience would have been valuable for you in a different way. We wanted you to come back from France and be a bit more mature and responsible. You know, less of a burden to us. If you came back with some knowledge of the world around you, then maybe it'd be worth the effort and money. If it helped you grow in those ways, it seemed like a worthwhile investment at the time. But now that you're leaving, there's no need to spend that much. It's just not necessary anymore given the circumstances.
No way. Don't you know how much I was looking forward to it? It's something I'd been dreaming about, and now it's ruined. Without being able to study in France, I don't know what I'll do anymore. I have no reason to live. It was the one thing giving me hope and motivation, and now it's gone.
Gosh, quit sulking already. Just get a job and earn your own money. You've been spoiled enough your whole life, always getting what you want without having to work hard for it. It's time to take responsibility for your own life. Besides, you've had more than enough time to study if you wanted to. There's no excuse for not taking action earlier. You never even showed any interest in learning French before, so why do you think studying abroad will suddenly change that? You seriously think you'll magically become fluent by studying abroad for half a year? And for some reason, become successful just because you're bilingual? That's a fantasy and it won't work. You need a more realistic approach to achieving your goals. You'd be better off getting a job and realizing how incompetent you are by facing the real world and its challenges. That would be much more beneficial for you. It's time you learned what it takes to succeed without relying on others.
But Sophia, my parents were always so kind and lenient with me. They never pushed me to do anything challenging. I've been spoiled and I don't really have any skills, just coasting through life without much abilities. Even with my part-time job, I don't make much. I can't support myself or build a future on that income alone. That's why I thought gaining new skills would help. I hoped studying abroad would give me the skills I lack.
I can't believe it. Your way of thinking is too naive. You need to wake up and see the reality of your situation. If you really want to study abroad, then work hard and earn the money yourself. Thinking you can just go abroad with other people's money and magically improve won't help you at all. That's how it's been all along. You've always lived off of others' money, never taking responsibility for yourself. That's exactly why you're so useless now. You've never learned to fend for yourself, and it shows in every aspect. Your flabby body is proof of that, isn't it? It's a clear sign that you've let yourself go, both physically and mentally.
You should have just shut up and listened to what I had to say. Don't make fun of me like this. Just come back and pay the money. That's all I'm asking of you.
You don't have any say in the situation. No matter how much you command me or how angry you get, you're nothing but a sore loser. If you think bossing people around will make you people do what you want at your age, you're sadly mistaken. That's the reason your life turned out this way. Your attitude is terrible and you need to fix it. If you don't have money, eat less and work harder, you pig. Quit whining and discipline yourself already.
What did you just say? Don't you dare speak to me like that. Unlike you, I'm healthy. You're the one who's so frail that you can't even go outside. You've been insulting my body this whole time. You're beyond cruel.
You're right. I'm insulting you. I'm not going to pretend to be nice to you any longer. But hey, you just said you were healthy, right? Then I bet you're fit enough to work more and make money on your own. If you can't pay for that house, then you don't deserve to live there. It's not fit for you. Move to a place that suits you and live within your means. You need to know your place.
Fine. I'll do as you say. Just give me your money already. That'll settle things once and for all. I feel sorry for going too far, so please, don't be mad at me anymore.
Whatever. You're not listening to me. Anyway, I just remembered something important. Didn't you insult my husband the other day? You said you wouldn't want to be with a guy like him who's a womanizer. First of all, he's changed for the better. He's incredibly loyal. Most importantly, thanks to his past of exploring his options, he has no interest in engaging with women other than me now. He knows what that lifestyle is like, and he doesn't want it anymore. He's now fully dedicated to his career and to me. But with your personality and looks, let's just say you're not exactly appealing to anyone. I guarantee that even a playboy who's desperate for anybody wouldn't come near you. Look around you. You have nobody to depend on. So live your lonely life and realize how useless you are, you pathetic loser. My in-laws were always a couple of pushovers, but after this whole ordeal, their situation drastically changed. With nobody to pay their rent, they had to sell the house they were living in and move into a shabby apartment. They had to begin living a drastically different life. Apparently, They were quite furious with Kaylee's thoughtless behavior because of this. At last, they realized how lazy and arrogant Kaylee really was. So, her parents decided it was time to teach her a lesson. They weren't in the mood to pamper her any longer. They forced her to work in an exploitative factory and even live there as well, far removed from her former comforts. As for me and my husband Noah, we were finally free from the toxic grip of his parents. We could finally focus on living a peaceful life together without the constant stress from his family. In the end, I'm honestly grateful for Kaylee's foolish words of telling me to move out of the house. They gave us the freedom we desperately needed.
You know, I was thinking about you today. Once I pass this test and get into this pre-med program, it will be clearer than ever how different you and I are. Honestly, I was seriously mad when I found out my dad was marrying a loser high school dropout like you. Ever since the day I first met you, I could tell that you and I were just not at all in the same league. And now I can finally say that you do not deserve to be in the same family, the same house, or even the same country as me and my dad. Get out of our house right now. Oh, today was your big test, wasn't it? You seem like you're in as good of a mood as you ever are. Can I take that to mean that you're confident about how well you performed? You got that right. I finished that stupid test faster than any of the other morons in the room. It was way easier than I thought it would be. Like, I was even kind of disappointed. But not even half as disappointed as I am that my dad married you. I've been waiting for the day when I could finally tell you exactly how I feel about you. And now that day has come. A low IQ loser like you has no right to marry my dad or call yourself my mom. I've been doing plenty of waiting myself, Luna. I've been waiting for the day when you would finally calm down and accept that your dad and I wanted to be together. But now I'm afraid that day may never come. Are you kidding? Of course it's never going to come. I have never for 1 second thought of you as anything other than a free maid service. God knows my dad isn't going to do any of the housework. And since I was busy studying for my test, I haven't had any free time at all lately either. And with you around, the house stayed clean, so I kept my mouth shut. But guess what? I just finished taking my test, so I'll have a ton of free time to wash the dishes or whatever. So I'm happy to announce that we don't need you anymore. I can take care of myself just fine. Wow, Luna, I had no idea you felt so strongly about me. I mean, you've always been pretty short with me, and the way you spoke to me always gave me the idea that you weren't too fond of me. But to say I was nothing more than a free maid service for you? I know I'm not perfect, but I'll have you know that I was doing my best to support you. I was hoping that one day you might even start calling me Mom. Oh my God, no! Don't hold your breath for that. You want to be my mom? Tell you what, how about you go and get admitted into a college as prestigious as the one I'm about to go to? If you can do that, then I'll call you whatever you want. I see you're still held up on the idea of having a college education. I can assure you that there are many more important things in life than educational attainment. I really hope that you can come to understand that. If you can learn to focus on the most important things, then you're far more likely to live the best life possible. Huh? What are you rambling on about? I already know how to live my best life possible. I literally have a 5-year plan. And everything is going just how I wanted it to go. Really, the only super important step in the plan was passing this test and getting admitted to the pre-med program. And now that I've done that, the rest is going to be super easy. Well, I'm glad you have a plan for your life. I'm also glad to see that you've chosen a wonderful path in life. Being a doctor is an incredibly important and rewarding profession. You'll have the ability to help people who are in need. You could even save a person's life. Wouldn't that be incredible? What are you talking about? You think that's why I wanted to get into this pre-med program? You mean it's not? No, you idiot. Get real. You think I want to spend all my time around sick people? Yuck. What if one of them coughs or bleeds all over me? That could get me sick, and I'll take a hard pass on that. I'm not sure what you mean, Luna. You're saying that you aren't going to become a doctor to help people in need? No. What's with you, Carly? What do you think I am, some kind of saint? I don't care about a bunch of coughing, bleeding, puking, screaming, crying, sick and injured people. There is only one thing in this world that I care about. Me. All I want out of college is to get married to an elite guy who's going to go on to become rich and influential. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life working like some kind of corporate drone. Even if I did want to work, it definitely wouldn't be with sick people. No, I just want to marry a rich man. He'll give me all the money I want to buy clothes and shoes. He'll take me on expensive trips to exotic locations all around the world. That's my dream. I see. Well, that's quite the dream you have, Luna. I don't know how good of an idea it's going to be, considering how expensive the pre-med program you're applying to is. It's just like any other investment. Some people invest in stocks, some people invest in real estate, and some people invest in cryptocurrency. I'm going to invest in something that'll have a way better payoff. All I need to do is pretty myself up every class, find the guy who looks the most promising, and use my feminine charm on him. Then we'll get married and he'll pay off whatever debt I build up while in school and have tons of money left over. That's the kind of life my dad would want me to have. He wouldn't want me wasting away the best years of my life studying, working, slaving away just to bring home an average income. So that's the plan you talked about earlier? You're just going to marry a guy and have him take care of you? I can't believe you actually thought I wanted to work. You're such a moron. Your problem is that you're thinking like a low IQ high school dropout. You and I aren't even close to being on the same level, and don't you forget that. Now, for the last time, divorce my dad and get out of our house and our lives. We don't need you now, and we never will. So pack up your stuff and be gone by tomorrow morning. Actually, you know what? Don't pack up your stuff. I'll just throw it all down to the curb for you. So you can just go straight from your office to some homeless shelter or something, because you are never setting foot in this house again. Luna, I feel like I should warn you that you are making a tremendous mistake. Are you sure you want to do this? Once you kick me out of your life, there is no way you'll ever be able to bring me back in. Oh, I am 100% sure. And my dad will be happier this way too. Like, why would he even want to stay with a dumb old woman like you? With you out of the way, he can date younger and prettier women. Okay then, Luna. Have it your way. Hello there, Carly. How are things? Have you recovered from the shock of me getting you kicked out of the house? Have you adjusted to the harsh realities of being homeless? Wow, I didn't expect to hear from you, Luna. I was under the impression that you never wanted to speak to me again. Why are you texting me even after your big plan to kick me out succeeded? Aw, are you sad that I ruined your life? Are you gonna cry now? I'm actually quite busy at the moment, Luna. If you have something to say to me, I'd appreciate if you could make it quick. Oh, yeah, you are definitely crying right now. Anyway, would you like to know what I just found out? I passed the entrance exam for the pre-med program. Dad was so happy for me when I told him. He just about started crying. And you know what that means? Now it's official. I am going to live a way different life than you. Like, it's going to be so different, you wouldn't even be able to comprehend it. Wow, that's excellent. I'm glad you're one step closer to making your dream come true, Luna. I do have one question for you, though. This isn't any of my concern anymore, but I am curious. How are you planning on paying for your tuition? Is your dad going to be able to help you out with that? What kind of question is that? Yeah, he's going to help me. He's going to pay for the whole thing. Is that so? Well, if that's the case, then that's great news. Oh no, don't tell me. Did you ask me that expecting that I wouldn't have a plan for paying my tuition? Like you thought I would overlook such an important detail? Oh my God, you are pathetic. Sorry, Carly, but unlike you, I actually have a functioning brain. You're so lame, seriously. I was only asking out of curiosity. You say you're fine, so that answers my question. Anyway, since we're not family anymore, I would appreciate it if you could stop sending me messages like this. This is hilarious. You're so jealous that I'm going to have a way better life than you. I'm glad I texted you, Carly. I needed a good laugh after doing nothing but studying all day for the last year while preparing for the admissions test. Anyway, I'll let you go. I wouldn't want you to lose your spot in line at the soup kitchen. Bye-bye, Carly. I look forward to seeing your obituary. Bye, Luna. I hope things go as well for you as you hope.
Yo, Carly, what's up, babe? Everything good? I was wondering, you want to go out on a date or something one of these days? I miss my girl.
I'd love that. I miss seeing you every day, too. By the way, how has Luna been since we divorced?
That kid? Well, considering I divorced you for her and had to go back to living on my own, I'm not really interested in doing anything else for her. Like, I barely even respond to her texts anymore. I had a kid at the cafe I stopped at the other day teach me how to disable notifications for her number.
You know what, Kent? You are one interesting guy. You have this odd combination of being willing to make massive sacrifices for your daughter and then not giving her the time of day.
Yeah, I mean, what else could I do? I knew from the very start that she would be against me getting remarried. I thought that once she got used to it, she'd chill out and stop being such a buzzkill, but boy, was I wrong. And I was never really all that big into the whole institution of marriage anyway. If me divorcing you means she's satisfied, I'm satisfied, and you're satisfied, then everybody's happy, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's working out well enough for all of us so far. But are you sure you're okay with going no contact with your own daughter?
Man, that girl never gave me the respect she should have. Like, you should have heard the way she was talking when talking me into divorcing you. She was all like, think about it, Dad, you'll be free to date younger and prettier women. I mean, it's like she doesn't even know me. There's only one lovebird who can tame this free spirit, and that's you, Carly.
We really were made for each other, weren't we? That's why I had no issue agreeing to have a nice and clean divorce with you just like she wanted. I know our relationship is stronger than any piece of paper.
And we're still seeing each other at least once a week. So yeah, if that's what she thinks of me, then I'll say that this is me fulfilling the last of my duties to her as her father. She's already 18 and she'll be going to college soon, so she can support herself from now on. Divorcing you was the last request that I'll ever take from her.
I'm just kind of surprised that you're so easygoing about this. Even you, easily the most easygoing man I've ever met. I mean, I'm on the same page as you and was never all that caught up in the idea of a legal marriage. Plus, right from the start, I wasn't concerned at all with what Luna thought of us being together, but you're still her father. I guess it's hard for me to believe you'd be okay with cutting her off like that.
Well, I mean, think about it. I never had things as good as they were when I was living with you. Being around you all the time was really fun, and I gave up all of that for her. If that's not enough to satisfy her, then she's just being way too greedy.
All right, if you say so. So what are your plans for what you'll do here on out?
Well, I terminated my lease, so the next thing I'm gonna do is look for a plot of land out in the woods somewhere. I'm finally gonna make my dream come true. I'm gonna live off the land, grow my own food, and be self-sufficient. Since I'm not living with you anymore, that means I'm free to live wherever and do whatever I want, right?
That's so like you, Kent. And yeah, you're right, living with me must have been a bit cramped for you. We had to live somewhere that was within a reasonable commute of my office.
Right? I was like an animal trapped in a cage. A nice cage, mind you, but a cage nonetheless. Plus, you know that I've never been what you'd call a high-income individual, right? I basically just work whatever job sounds the most interesting to me any given week. Which, while exciting, isn't exactly the most stable lifestyle for supporting a daughter. Her whole divorce her daddy thing actually came at a pretty good time when I think about it. She'll be leaving home, so that means I'm free of any responsibilities to her. I've got nothing to tie me down anymore.
Yeah, about that. I just heard she passed the test and got accepted into that pre-med program. You must be happy, but what are you going to do about that?
Oh yeah, the test thing. You were probably way happier than me to hear about that. You always wanted to do something to help out sick people. It's a real bummer that you never got to become a doctor yourself like you wanted. But you do a lot to help out others in any way that you can. And now my girl Luna is gonna help you make your dream come true for real. Isn't that great?
Yeah, sure, Kent, real great. But what is she going to do about her tuition?
Her tuition? I don't know. I always assumed she would have figured out something for herself by now. I guess if we hadn't divorced, then you would have footed the whole bill for her yourself. But that possibility is flown out the window now. So if she was willing to kick out the person who was going to pay for her tuition, that must mean she has some kind of plan in mind. Like, I don't know, getting a part-time job while studying or something? I was never really concerned about that, seeing as though she's not my problem once she turns 18.
She actually does have a plan. It seems like she's expecting that you'll pay it for her.
Wait, what? She wants me to pay for her tuition? No siree, not a chance. Not gonna happen. I already told her that I couldn't pay for it. I was really clear to her that once she graduates high school, she's gonna have to take care of herself. Although, I don't know, she was staring pretty intently at her phone while I was talking to her. Maybe she didn't hear me? But in any case, it's not my problem. Besides, she should know better than anyone else that I don't have the kind of money to pay for tuition at a prestigious pre-med program like that.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, that clears up a lot. I was confused when she was telling me that earlier, but now I guess she was just under the wrong impression. Oh well, I'm certainly not going to pay for her tuition anymore, so she'll just have to work something out herself, like you say. I've told her as much myself.
You really think she would come to you for help in the first place, though? Like, that girl has never thought of you as a family member. The way she talks about you when you're not around, yikes! After all that, I really don't think she's gonna come crawling on her hands and knees to beg you for money.
Well, I certainly hope she won't. Anyway, I'm glad you and I are on the same page about how to deal with her. That means I have nothing to worry about.
So yeah, about that date, when are you free?
I'll check my schedule and get back to you. Do you think you can fit me into your busy schedule?
Let's see. I'm gonna go fishing this afternoon. Probably take a hike through the woods tomorrow. I'm swamped, but I can pencil you in somewhere.
Hey, what gives? I just talked to my dad, and he said he is not going to pay my tuition. How did you pass that pre-med test if you can't even read basic English? I told you not to contact me anymore. Yeah, well, circumstances have changed. My dad was thrilled that I passed that test. He said he was proud of me. Why would he go all crazy like that if he wasn't going to pay for my tuition? Well, if I had to wager a guess, I'd say he was happy for you because you passed the test. passing tests is a good thing, right? I don't see what the source of your confusion is. But just because he's happy for you doesn't mean he's going to pay for your tuition. If he wasn't going to pay, he should have said so sooner. Like, come to me, look me in the eyes, and say it explicitly, I'm not gonna pay for your tuition. And you knew about this too, didn't you? Why didn't you tell me? You suck, Carly. Everything sucks. I had no idea my dad didn't make enough money to pay for my tuition. Really? That seems like the sort of thing you should be able to tell at your age. But in any case, you should have known because he did tell you. He said he wasn't going to support you after you graduated high school, right? Maybe he said something to that effect. Yeah, and college is after high school, right? That means he's not going to support you in college. That is, he won't pay your tuition. Even if he wanted to, he doesn't have that kind of money. When he was talking to me, he was under the impression you would get a job and pay for everything yourself. He never told me that, though. Again, yes, he did, but that's not my problem. This is an issue between you and your dad. Leave me out of it. You're a big girl now. Go and take care of your own problems. I'm not done with you yet. He told me about you, too. He said you were way happier than he was about me getting into that pre-med program. It was just like you said the other day. You thought I was going to become a doctor and help sick people. Yes, and? Are we really going to rehash that conversation? I'm getting to the point. Give me a second, will you? After he talked about that, he started laughing, like harder than he's ever laughed before. I asked him what was so funny, and he told me that you were planning on paying for my tuition. And since I made him divorce you, that offer is now off the table. Is that true? Yep, all of it. I wanted to become a doctor when I was younger, but I dropped out of high school. On top of that, my family wasn't wealthy at all, so there was no way we would have been able to afford it anyway. That's why I was so happy when you started talking about going to med school and why I wanted to support you in any way I could. Because in spite of how much you hated me, I was still moved by the thought that you could help make my dream come true. So he was telling the truth. But how were you going to pay for it? You don't have any money. I'm only telling you this now because I'm no longer your stepmother, but looks can be deceiving. I run my own company and I haven't looked in a while, but I believe my net assets are somewhere around $3 million. What? So yeah, I was more than willing and able to pay for your tuition, but alas, you insisted that your father and I get divorced. But not only that, you took the liberty of throwing away all my things before I could get back to the house and collect them. Combine that with all the insults you've been flinging in my direction lately, and I've changed my mind. I don't believe it. You were really going to do that for me? That's right. I knew your dad wouldn't be able to, so I thought I would help you out in his place. But not anymore. No, I think I'm going to donate what I would have paid for your tuition to a charitable organization. There's one I've worked with in the past that helps sick children. You're serious, aren't you? If I hadn't gone and pushed my dad to divorce you, you would have paid for me to go to med school? How many times are you going to ask me that question? I'm in shock, okay? I was in shock too at how viciously opposed you were to me marrying your father. Even before that, you hated the thought of us even having a good relationship. I remember whenever I hugged your father goodnight, you would immediately start throwing a fit. And in spite of all that, you were still gonna pay? But, why? What is it with you and me becoming a doctor? Is it really just because you wanted to become one but couldn't? There's a bit more to the story, actually. Back when I was in middle school, my little sister contracted a rare illness. There was treatment available, but it was experimental, incredibly expensive, and not covered by insurance. My parents couldn't afford it and couldn't find any organizations willing to help them out. So my sister didn't make it. My mom felt so guilty that she wasn't able to save her daughter's life that she fell into a deep depression. It was all too much for my father to deal with, so he abandoned us. That's why I dropped out of high school, because I had to work to support my mother and myself. My dream of becoming a doctor was gone before it even had a chance to begin.
Wow. That's crazy. So you didn't drop out of high school because you were too dumb to graduate?
In fairness, I never thought of myself as being naturally gifted or anything. I do, however, have an above-average work ethic. I used the money left over after paying the bills to study about running a business, and after a while I started my own. It grew and grew to the point that now I've amassed something of a small fortune for myself, and now I intend to use that money to help people who are sick and suffering. I can't be a doctor myself, and I'm too late to save my sister. But there are still things I can do to save lives, and to see to it that no family goes through what mine did ever again.
Well, if that's the case, then I have great news for you. There just so happens to be an aspiring pre-med student who needs help paying for her tuition.
And who might that be?
Me! I thought that was obvious. If you help me go to college, then I'll go on to help sick kids just like your sister in the future. That's what you want, right? Don't worry, Carly. I swear to you, I will make your dream come true.
You're a little too late to play Little Miss Altruism, Luna. You already spilled the beans to me, remember? You told me that all you wanted to do was marry a rich man. You don't want to help sick children. All you want is expensive clothes, shoes, and luxurious vacations. You said so yourself.
But that was before. Hearing your story has changed my heart. It's a miracle. I can't wait to get right into the hospital and start operating on all the sick kids I can get my hands on.
That's pretty creepy, actually, and also not going to work on me. I've learned a lot of lessons in my time, and one of them is that people never truly change. Do you have any idea how much trouble you caused for your dad? He's come to me so many times over the course of our relationship to apologize for your behavior. And now he even divorced me just to please you. But that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He loves you as your father, but he's also fed up with your awful attitude. He wanted me to tell you that divorcing me was his parting gift to you, and that I am no longer under any obligation to help you pay for college.
Wait, what? You mean my dad knew you were going to pay for my tuition and divorced you anyway?
That's right, Luna. You have now successfully alienated the only two people in this world who would have lifted a finger to help you.
This can't be happening. This is going to ruin everything. Tell me, Carly, what do I have to do to get you to help me? Do you want me to apologize? I'll apologize to both you and my dad.
I don't need to hear any meaningless apologies from you. You have your 5-year plan, don't you? You'll just have to make it work yourself.
How, though?
How about the same way I did? Get a job. Anyway, I wanted to tell you that you were right about one thing. You are indeed going to live a way different life than me, and not in a good way. Luna did her very best to try and convince me to recommit to supporting her college education. I have no money to spend on some bratty teenager who's not my daughter or even stepdaughter. I kept refusing until eventually Luna realized she was out of luck and simply gave up. Not just on getting money from me, but on going to college altogether. There was no way she would be able to get the kind of money she needed by the start of the fall semester. So instead of spending her days in the classroom, she's spending them waiting tables at a local restaurant. After all the time I spent with her, though, I can honestly say that while she is a bit presumptuous, she's not a stupid girl by any means. I'm sure she'll find some way to make things work in the end. As for me, I decided that I would use my money to start up my own charitable organization. It's specifically geared for financially supporting the parents of sick children who need help paying for necessary medical treatment. I'm also starting a scholarship for people planning to go into pediatric medicine. And if Luna has a genuine change of heart, she's still more than welcome to apply.